This is how a millionaire reacts when a boy shows him a wedding photo he never took. What would you do if a child showed you a photograph that proved you lived a life you can't remember? Picture this. You're worth $12 billion. Life is perfectly controlled, meticulously planned, and completely empty. Then during a routine charity visit, a 10-year-old boy approaches you with a faded photograph and says, "This is from my mom's things. She made me promise to find you and show you this picture." You take the photograph and your world stops. It's a wedding photo. The bride is beautiful, radiant, completely unknown to you, but the groom is unmistakably you. The problem? You've never been married. You would remember your own wedding, wouldn't you? Daniel Harrison reviewed quarterly reports in his Manhattan penthouse, another billion added to his tech empire. At 34, he had built Nexus Dynamics into a global powerhouse through pure dedication and isolation. No relationships, no distractions, just relentless focus on success. "Mr. Harrison, your car is ready for the Brooklyn Community Center visit," came his assistant's voice. Another corporate responsibility event. Another tax-deductible photo opportunity. At the Riverside Community Center, Margaret Santos greeted him warmly. The children have prepared presentations about how technology has impacted their lives. As Daniel took his seat among 30 excited children, a boy around 10 approached hesitantly. Dark hair, serious brown eyes, carrying a manila envelope like it contained secrets. "Mr. Harrison, I'm Alex Morales. Before the presentation start, I need to show you something about my family." Alex opened the envelope, extracting a faded photograph. A wedding scene, bride and groom before a small church, surrounded by modest family gathering. "This is from my mom's things. She died last year. Before she died, she made me promise to find you and show you this picture." Daniel took the photograph and his hands began trembling. The bride was beautiful, with long dark hair and a radiant smile. But the groom was unmistakably him, identical in every detail, down to a childhood scar above his left eyebrow. "I don't understand," Daniel whispered. "Alex, where did your mother get this?" "From her memory box. She always told me my father was a good man who loved her, but life kept them apart. She said when I found him, I should show him this picture so he would remember." "What was your mother's name?" "Isabella Morales. Isabella Santos, before she got married. Isabella Santos." The name triggered something, not a clear memory, but a haunting familiarity. Margaret Santos had approached, her face shifting from curiosity to recognition to fear when she saw the photograph. "Where did you get that?" she asked Alex sharply. "Margaret," Daniel said, studying her reaction, "do you recognize this photograph?" "I think there might be some confusion. Perhaps we should discuss this privately." But Alex was watching Daniel with patient expectation, complete faith that this stranger would somehow make sense of the mystery. "Alex, can you tell me anything else about your mother? She said it was the happiest day of her life, but also the saddest, because she knew it wouldn't last. She said sometimes people love each other, but can't be together because the world makes it impossible." As applause filled the room for young presenters, Daniel stared at photographic evidence of a life he couldn't remember living. How do you explain to a child that the father he's searching for doesn't recognize the most important day of his supposed past? Daniel called his head of security that night. "I need a complete background check on Isabella Santos, also known as Isabella Morales. Everything from 15 years ago forward." Hours later, Michael Torres called back with results that shattered Daniel's reality. Isabella Santos, Brooklyn teacher who died 14 months ago. But here's what's interesting. I found a marriage certificate. Isabella Santos married Daniel Harrison 15 years ago. Divorce papers filed 6 months later. The signatures match your handwriting samples. That's impossible. I would remember getting married. There's more. Isabella's medical records list you as emergency contact with your current address. Daniel stared at his reflection, a successful man apparently capable of forgetting the most significant relationship of his life. Dr. Emily Chen, a leading neurologist, examined the evidence. What you're describing is dissociative amnesia, triggered by severe psychological trauma. Your mind walled off memories too painful to process. If I wanted to remember, could I? Memory recovery is possible, but if your mind blocked these memories, there was likely a very good reason. Recovering them could be overwhelming. There's a 10-year-old boy who believes I'm his stepfather. I owe it to him to try. That afternoon, Daniel confronted Margaret Santos. I need you to tell me about Isabella, about everything I can't remember. Margaret closed her office door, resignation in her eyes. Isabella was my niece. You met her at your father's funeral 15 years ago. She worked part-time at the funeral home. You were both broken. You'd lost your father, she'd lost her parents in an accident. A fragment surfaced, standing in a funeral home, unable to stop crying, a young woman with dark hair bringing tissues and speaking softly about grief. You found comfort in each other. For 6 months, you were inseparable. What happened? Why divorce? You were both grieving. You started pulling away, working obsessively, convincing yourself that loving someone was too dangerous. But we married. Isabella was pregnant. You married because it felt right, but you were terrified of becoming a father. Daniel felt something break in his chest. The baby. Isabella miscarried at 4 months, devastating for both of you. You blamed yourself, convinced the stress of your fears caused the loss. So I left. You filed for divorce and moved to California, told Isabella she deserved better than someone too broken to love properly. And Alex? Isabella adopted Alex at 3 when his parents died. She said loving Alex taught her that families can be chosen. Memory fragments returned. Isabella's laugh, her singing while cooking, the terror of needing someone so much. The miscarriage, the overwhelming guilt, the certainty that everyone he loved eventually left. She kept everything, Margaret continued. Letters, pictures, even divorce papers. She said someday you might need proof you'd been capable of love, even if you couldn't remember. Why didn't she contact me when she was dying? Because she loved you. She understood you'd forgotten for a reason. But she made Alex promise to find you because every child deserves to know their family story. Through intensive therapy, Daniel recovered from the summer that changed his life. He remembered meeting Isabella on his worst day, long conversations in all-night diners, healing together in Prospect Park. He remembered the pregnancy, painting, a nursery, and the paralyzing terror of impending fatherhood. The miscarriage had shattered them both, but Daniel's guilt consumed him. He convinced himself his fears had caused the loss, that Isabella deserved someone who could love without terror. I remember signing divorce papers, Daniel told Dr. Chen, believing I was setting her free. And now, I was a coward who disguised selfishness as sacrifice. Daniel returned to Alex at the community center. Did you remember? The boy asked hopefully. For an hour, Daniel shared the story, carefully edited for a 10-year-old, but honest about the love and fear that drove him away. So you were my stepfather for a while? Alex asked. Yes, for about 6 months. And you left because you were scared of losing Mom? Exactly. I thought I was protecting her, but I was protecting myself. Alex considered this seriously. Mom said, brave people aren't people who don't get scared. They're people who do the right thing even when they're scared. Your mother was very wise. She said sometimes people we love make mistakes, but love means forgiving them and giving them chances to do better. That weekend, Daniel took Alex and his grandmother Rosa to places where he and Isabella had built their brief life. They visited their old apartment, Isabella's school, the park where she'd taught outdoor lessons. Alex, Daniel said as they sat, overlooking the park. I'd very much like to be part of your life if you want that, like a family that chose each other. I'd like that. Grandma Rosa is getting old, and I worry about what happens when she can't take care of me. You don't have to worry. Whatever happens, you'll have people who care about you. Would you like to come and have dinner tomorrow? Grandma makes the best mole in Brooklyn, and I could show you my coding project. I would love that, Daniel replied, meaning it completely. For the first time in 15 years, Daniel had found something more important than business success. 6 months later, Daniel's life was unrecognizable. His sterile penthouse now had a second bedroom filled with superhero posters and the organized chaos of a bright 10-year-old's life. Daniel had restructured his role at Nexus Dynamics, promoting his lieutenant to CEO while remaining chairman. His newfound emotional availability made him a better leader, more focused on meaningful innovation than pure profit. Alex had moved in when Rosa's arthritis made caregiving difficult, though Rosa remained a constant presence. Daniel discovered that being Alex's guardian required skills no business school taught: patience for homework struggles, creativity for birthday parties, and serious conversations about loss and hope. "Danny," Alex said one evening as they worked on a robotics project, "I think Mom would be happy about us finding each other." "I think so too." "Alex, do you ever wish things had been different? That I'd remembered sooner or never left?" Alex was quiet, considering. "Sometimes I think about what it would have been like if you'd stayed married to Mom. But then, I think maybe things happened the way they were supposed to." "How so?" "If you hadn't left, maybe Mom wouldn't have adopted me. If she hadn't gotten sick, maybe she wouldn't have made me promise to find you. And if I hadn't found you, maybe you'd have stayed sad and lonely forever, and I'd have been an orphan. So everything worked out? I think people make choices that seem wrong at the time, but later turn out to be the only way to get to something good. Mom always said love finds a way." They visited Isabella's grave together regularly, bringing her updates about their life. Daniel had commissioned a beautiful headstone and created a tradition of sharing their progress. "Hi, Mom," Alex would say. "Danny taught me Python this week. He says I'm a natural programmer." "Isabella," Daniel would add, "I can't change the past, but Alex has taught me to love without fear, to be present without controlling everything. He's made me the man you saw in me when we were young." One day, Alex shared an essay he'd written about families. "I wrote about how sometimes families aren't just people related by blood. Sometimes they're people who choose to love and take care of you." What did your classmates think? Tommy Martinez said his family was like that with his stepfather. Sarah Kim said her grandparents raised her. "I realized our story isn't unique. Lots of families are built from choice and love." What did you conclude? "Maybe Mom kept your wedding picture, not just so I could find you, but so I could learn that love doesn't have to be perfect to be real, and families don't have to start traditionally to be strong." The Riverside Community Center's annual gala was held in a Manhattan ballroom for the first time, with Daniel as primary benefactor and board chairman. Alex, now 12 and confident, stood beside him as Daniel addressed the crowd. "2 years ago, I thought I understood success. I measured it in stock prices and quarterly earnings. I was completely wrong. Success isn't what you build for yourself, it's what you build for others. It's not about wealth you accumulate, it's about lives you touch. And it's not about memories you preserve, it's about love you're brave enough to create from broken pieces." Later, driving home through their shared city, Alex fell asleep in the passenger seat. Daniel watched this remarkable boy who had approached a stranger with a photograph and known exactly how to help that stranger find his way home. "Are we home, Danny?" Alex asked as they reached their building. "Yes, buddy, we're home." As they rode the elevator to their penthouse, filled with soccer equipment, homework projects, roses, empanadas, and the comfortable chaos of real family, Daniel understood that home wasn't a place you owned. It was a feeling you built with people who chose to love you, one ordinary moment at a time. The wedding photograph hung in their hallway now, surrounded by pictures of school plays and family vacations. No longer a mystery, but a reminder of how love survives even when memory fails, how families can be built from unlikely foundations, and how sometimes a 10-year-old boy with unshakable faith can teach a millionaire that the greatest fortune isn't what you accumulate. It's what you're willing to share. Daniel Harrison had spent his adult life building an empire, but Alex Morales had taught him something infinitely more valuable: how to build a legacy of love. As he tucked Alex into bed, surrounded by evidence of the life they'd created together, Daniel knew no business success could compare to the simple miracle of being someone's chosen family. In the end, the millionaire's reaction to a boy showing him a wedding photo he never remembered taking had led to the most important discovery of his life: that love doesn't require perfect memory. Families don't require perfect circumstances. And sometimes the most profound healing comes from having the courage to let a child teach you how to love without fear. The wedding photograph would always be a mystery, a moment one man had forgotten and one boy had preserved. But its real power wasn't in the past it documented. It was in the future it made possible, the family it helped create, and the love it proved could survive anything, even the forgetting. And that was the only success story that truly mattered. Thank you for joining us on this powerful journey. If this story moved you, inspired you, or simply made you think, don't leave without showing your support. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell so you don't miss what comes next. And before you go, leave a comment telling us where in the world you're watching from. We'd love to know. Until next time, stay curious.